cannot hide forever. That child belongs to me.
Over my dead body.
Chief Obi, tonight the truth will be revealed.
The air in Amatoro village always carried a strange kind of silence at dusk. It was not the quietness of peace, but the silence of secrets. Secrets that lived in the rustling leaves, secrets whispered among the elders under the old Irako tree, and secrets buried inside mud houses with walls that had witnessed too much. On that particular evening, Ada felt the weight of the village's silence pressing on her chest as she ran, barefoot, across the dusty road. Her wrapper was half-tied, her blouse loose from struggling hands, and in her trembling arms, she clutched her newborn baby like a shield against death itself. Sweat mixed with tears as the child wailed, its small cries slicing through the twilight. The villagers who saw her run did not move to help. They simply stared. Some whispered. Others shook their heads knowingly. In Amatoro, everybody knew when trouble was brewing, but nobody dared to interfere when Chief Obi was involved. Chief Obi was not just a man. He was a presence, wealthy, powerful, and feared. He was the kind of man whose footsteps echoed louder than his voice, the kind of man who could silence a room without lifting a finger. For years, he had ruled the village from the shadows, bending the will of the people to suit his desires. And tonight it was Ada he pursued. Ada stumbled as her foot caught a stone, nearly falling with the child. She pressed the baby tighter to her chest, whispering, "Shoo, my child, please stop crying. They must not hear us." But the baby, innocent and oblivious, cried even louder. The night was coming fast, painting the sky with bruises of purple and red. Ada's heart thumped in her chest like a talking drum. She knew she could not outrun him forever. She needed a place to hide, somewhere safe, at least until dawn. Her eyes darted to the mud house at the edge of the village, the old home of her late grandmother, abandoned for years but still standing. Its cracked walls and broken windows looked unwelcoming, but to Ada it was salvation. She rushed inside, kicking the door shut behind her. The lantern in the corner flickered faintly, casting long shadows across the room. She leaned against the door, gasping for breath, her whole body shaking. The baby's cries softened for a moment, as if sensing the mother's fear. Ada rocked the child gently, her tears dripping onto its tiny forehead. "Why me?" she whispered to the empty room. "Why us?" The silence that answered her was heavy, but outside she heard it, footsteps, slow, deliberate, steady. Her blood turned cold. The shadow of Chief Obi. Chief Obi had always gotten what he wanted. He was a man of appetites. Appetites for land, for money, for respect, and for women. And he had seen Ada when she was just a girl, carrying palm fruits on her head to the market. He had waited, biding his time, until she became a woman. He had promised her parents wealth, promising to sponsor her through school, to lift the family from poverty. But when Ada resisted his advances, his promises turned to threats. He was not used to rejection, and the more she resisted, the more obsessed he became. Now, the child in her arms was the reason for his rage. A child Ada swore was not his. A child that Chief Obi, in his pride and darkness, insisted belonged to him. As his footsteps drew nearer, Ada froze. The wooden door rattled under his fist as he banged it. His voice thunderous. "Ada," he roared. "You cannot hide from me. That child belongs to me." The baby stirred at the sound, crying louder. Ada pressed her lips against the child's head, whispering frantically, "No, no, hush, please." Her knees buckled as fear weighed on her. She could almost see his face through the cracks in the door. The sharp jawline, the cold eyes, the agbada flowing like the garment of a king. She knew Chief Obi would break the door if he wanted. He had the strength of anger and entitlement in his fists. Ada backed away slowly, pressing her body against the far wall of the room. "Over my dead body," she whispered, her voice trembling but firm. The arrival of the seer. Then came a sound, soft, creaking from behind her. Ada turned sharply. The back door, which she thought had long been sealed by termites and dust, opened with a groan. A gust of wind blew into the room, making the lantern flicker violently. From the darkness stepped a figure, old, hunched but commanding. Her face was lined with age, her eyes sharp as a hawk's, and in her hand, she held a staff that glowed faintly as if it carried the light of the ancestors. It was Mama Ifioma, the village seer. A woman feared and respected, a keeper of truths too heavy for ordinary tongues. Ada gasped. Mama Ifioma. The old woman stepped fully into the room, her wrapper dragging across the floor, beads clicking around her neck. Her voice was deep, heavy, yet calm. Ada, do not be afraid. Tonight, the truth will walk into the light. Chief Obi's pounding stopped for a moment, as though even he feared the voice that spoke inside the room. Then the seer raised her staff, pointing it at the door. Her voice thundered like the skies. Chief Obi, enough of your lies. Tonight the truth will be revealed. Thunder cracked across the sky as though the heavens themselves agreed. The lantern shook on its hook, shadows dancing wildly on the mud walls. Ada fell to her knees, clutching her baby as her tears mixed with relief and fear. Chief Obi's shadow trembled on the door. For the first time there was hesitation in his stance. A village of secrets. The story of Ada and Chief Obi was not just theirs. It was a story buried in the soil of Amatoro itself. For years, the villagers had known whispers of Chief Obi's darkness. Women who went missing. Children whose fathers were never named. Families who suddenly prospered after silence. And now, with Mama Ifioma standing in the room, Ada knew the village's silence would finally break. But the truth, as Mama Ifioma often said, was never without blood. The staff of truth. The thunder that rolled across Amatoro village that night was unlike any other. It was not the kind that promised rain, but the kind that announced judgment. The lantern's flame quivered and nearly died, but the glow of Mama Ifioma's staff filled the mud house with an otherworldly light. Ada, still clutching her baby, felt both terrified and strangely comforted. She whispered, "Mama, please save us." The seer's eyes did not leave the shaking door. Her voice was like gravel and fire. "Child, this night will decide everything. The truth cannot hide forever." Outside, Chief Obi's silence turned to mocking laughter. It was low at first, then rose like the wail of a masquerade. "Old woman," he thundered, "you meddle in what does not concern you. It belongs to me. That child is mine whether she admits it or not. Do not stand in my way." Mama Ifioma struck her staff on the ground. A vibration ran through the mud floor, rattling Ada's bones. "You lie, Obi. You know the truth, but greed has blinded you. Tonight, the ancestors will open the hidden doors." The door flung open suddenly, as if obeying an unseen force. Chief Obi stood there in full view, his agbada swaying in the wind, his eyes burning with fury. Yet behind that fury was something else, fear. The confrontation. He stepped inside slowly, his heavy sandals thudding against the ground. His presence seemed to shrink the room. Ada pressed herself into the corner, shielding her baby. "Give me the child," Chief Obi roared, pointing at Ada. "She is mine." "No," Ada cried, her voice breaking. "This child does not belong to you. You will not touch him." Mama Ifioma moved between them, raising her staff. "Obi, enough. If this child is truly yours, let the ancestors bear witness. But if not, let the truth be revealed." The staff's glow intensified until it filled the room like daylight. Shadows twisted, and the air grew thick. Obi staggered back, shielding his eyes. "Stop this madness, old woman." But Mama Ifioma's voice cut through him. "Kneel, Obi, and confess before your lies consume you." The hidden door. At that moment something strange happened. On the far wall of the mud house, a crack appeared. Slowly, the crack widened. forming the outline of a hidden door that had never been there before. The villagers who had gathered outside gasped and murmured as they peered through the open entrance. Ada stared in shock. "What is that?" Mama Ifeoma's staff pulsed with light. "The door of truth. It appears only when lies must be judged. Step forward, Obi. Enter, and let the ancestors decide." Obi's face drained of color. He shook his head violently. "I owe no one answers. That child is mine because I said so. Do you not know who I am?" The villagers outside muttered louder. Some shouted, "Enter the door, Obi. Prove your claim if you speak the truth." But Obi refused to move. He turned to retreat, but the door behind him slammed shut on its own. Panic flickered in his eyes. The confession. Mama Ifeoma's staff glowed hotter, casting Obi in harsh light. Sweat poured down his face as if the heat came from within him. His hands trembled. "Speak, Obi," Mama Ifeoma commanded. "Whose child is this?" Obi's lips quivered, but pride chained his tongue. He looked at Ada with hatred, then at the villagers watching him. His voice cracked. I only wanted what I could not have." A collective gasp rose from the crowd. Obi's knees buckled. He fell to the ground, clutching his chest. "I told myself the child was mine so the people would fear me more. So Ada could never belong to another man." Ada's tears streamed freely. "You destroyed my life, Obi. You shamed my family, you hunted me, and all for a lie." Obi's eyes burned with shame. His voice dropped to a whisper. "I could not stand rejection. No woman refuses me. Not you." The hidden door on the wall glowed brighter, pulling at Obi like a force of judgment. "Judgment." Mama Ifeoma raised her staff high. Her voice rang like thunder. "The ancestors have heard your confession. You tried to claim what was not yours, to chain a woman and her child with lies. Tonight your power ends." A sudden wind swept through the room, extinguishing the lantern. Only the staff's light remained. Obi screamed as the hidden door pulled him forward. His body convulsed, his agbada tearing as invisible hands dragged him toward the light. "No. Well, I am Chief Obi. You cannot do this to me," he howled. But the door did not listen. With a final deafening clap of thunder, Obi was pulled through, and the crack sealed shut behind him. Silence fell. The villagers outside fell to their knees, crying out in awe and fear. "Freedom!" Ada collapsed to the ground, clutching her baby, sobbing uncontrollably. Mama Ifeoma bent down and placed a wrinkled hand on her shoulder. "Your suffering has ended, child. You and your son are free." The baby, as if understanding, stopped crying and cooed softly. For the first time in weeks, Ada smiled through her tears. The villagers poured into the house, surrounding Ada. Some embraced her. Others fell before Mama Ifeoma, thanking her for revealing the truth. An elder stepped forward. "Obi's tyranny is over. Ada, forgive us for our silence. We allowed fear to blind us." Ada wiped her eyes. Let his story be a warning. Never again should lies rule this village. The people shouted in agreement. The new dawn. By morning, word had spread to every corner of Amatoro. The story of the hidden door and Chief Obi's downfall became legend. Mothers warned their sons, and fathers warned their daughters. Truth will always come for the liar. Ada moved back into her grandmother's house, now restored by the villagers. She raised her son in peace, surrounded by a community that had finally found its voice. Mama Ifeoma remained the village's guide, her staff a symbol of justice. Whenever disputes arose, people remembered Chief Obi's fate and spoke truth rather than risk the hidden door appearing again. Epilogue. Years later, Ada's son grew tall and strong. He often asked, "Mama, what happened the night you ran with me in your arms?" And Ada would smile, touching his hair. "That night, my child, the ancestors proved that lies can never stand against the truth." The boy would listen wide-eyed, and Ada's heart would swell with pride, not because of her suffering, but because she had survived it. The village of Amatoro healed. The silence that once carried secrets now carried songs, laughter, and the sound of children playing freely in the sun. And on the wall of Ada's home, etched by the hands of the villagers, were the words that became Amatoro's new law. The truth may hide for a time, but it always finds the door. Thank you so much for watching this story. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories every week. Your support keeps us going. See you in the next episode.